So it's chapter 2.
Yes.
I thought it was better than the original. Not the original, but the first one.
Well,
chapter 1.
This one was more of, I guess you could say, like, they stuck closer to the book in this one. That's something I will say. I would argue the first one at parts was a little more entertaining, maybe a little scarier, you know? Because it's kids and you really get that feeling of being scared. But this one, yeah, as someone who criticized the first one because there was a lot of things they changed from the book, this one they almost counter-corrected certain things from the first movie to make it more like the book, which I found kind of interesting.
They did a lot of things in this one that fixed a lot of my complaints about the first one.
Right.
They kind of delve into the past a little bit of it. You kind of get why he's like, what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Overall, this movie is very entertaining.
Yeah. Well, it helps that the comedic character...
Bill Hader's great. Actually, the acting in general.
Well, no, all the actors were good. After watching, I was like, oh... Because I remember when they announced the cast, it was the big names were James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain, and Bill Hader. Now, James McAvoy is like, he'll be fine. He's a great actor. Jessica Chastain, I was like, she's got red hair. She's worked with Andy Muschietti in the past. He did Mama with her. And I was like, she's a good actress. She'll be fine. And I was like, and Bill Hader's perfect as that comedy.
And the red hair is relevant for the fact that the character has red hair.
Yeah.
So I mean, that just sounded. Well, she's got red hair.
Yeah,
she's a good actress.
They've got to get someone. It was either her or Amy Adams. I mean, or Christina Hendricks. But when they announced James Ransone as Eddie, I only know him from the second season of The Wire. He played a character named Ziggy, and I thought him and Bill Hader stole the show for me. Eddie.
I wouldn't say they stole the show, but they played off each other very well.
Oh, so well.
Yeah.
And I thought I don't know, maybe it's just that character of Eddie was someone that I really, even in the book, I found kind of like an interesting character. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, they do a good job of really making him very similar to in the book. And I personally, I thought Bill Hader and him were excellent. And, all the acting's good. Bill Skarsgård even though he probably did have more screen time in this one, right? Mm-hmm. But his presence wasn't there as much. Like, this was really diving into who these people were and how they became the people that they were, or are. And it was something, that's kind of a complaint I had was like, and I think it has something to do with Cary Fukunaga wrote the first script, and then the guy who wrote this one, he came in and did some rewrites for the first one, and his name's Gary Dauberman. And I think if Gary Dauberman had written the first one, a lot of like these things that they would be calling back in the second one wouldn't have happened. I think they would just happen in the first one. Yeah. Because the whole thing of Ben building the clubhouse, and that it's showing that he was a good architect. They don't mention that at all in the first one. In the book, that's a big part of their bond is that Ben knows a lot about he's very infatuated with architecture, and he builds his clubhouse, and they build like a dam in the sewers and stuff so they can. Anyway, but yeah, that's honestly kind of my main complaint. Is like I think if they had established some of these things that they did in the second one, in the first one, this movie would be nowhere near as long. And that's honestly, that's one of my main, if not only, real complaint is that there were parts of this that were long. Honestly, it was more towards the end I really started to feel it. You know, like I thought.
I actually didn't mind the length.
I didn't until the end. It started to really kind of hit me that I was like, oh, this is kind of a longer movie.
Are we going to include spoilers in this video?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the whole movie is building up to the final hour of the movie, so it's like we can't avoid spoilers in this.
Well, the reason I'm bringing this up is there is a plot point in this movie that completely nullifies about 40%, 50% of this movie, and that's my biggest complaint. Like,
and it's a fair one,
and it's frustrating to me because I walked out of it, and I was like, that was really good, but I was like, it was strange that it happens. And what happens is, at the beginning of the movie, it's kind of set up that they have to go delve into their past to collect tokens.
Well, first off, Pennywise is returned. Mike calls all of them up, tells them they got to come back to Derry. They have like no recollection of Derry. Yeah. They come back to Derry, it's all coming back to them, and Mike says, to defeat them, we have to do this ritual.
And in this ritual, it calls for them to each bring in like a token, a totem,
or like a piece of their history, their personal memory or history.
And to find it, they each have to delve into their past and do that. So most of the movie is each individual person trying to go back through the town and remember what their token is.
What their when they were kids, their interaction with Pennywise, where where Pennywise was able to get to them, and they had to kind of go and relive it.
Mm-hmm. And so that all takes place, and then they get to the end, and they're getting ready. They're performing this. They've gone down under where Pennywise lives.
It's beneath the barracks, it's beneath the sewer. Like, it's way underground.
Yeah, and Pennywise has lived there for 1,000 years.
Million.
Right? Yeah,
it's millions of years.
And they're performing this ritual, and then it comes out that Mike was apparently like crazy.
Well, kind of. This ritual is a Native American ceremony that Mike had done all this studying about, and
but the fact of the matter is, he found a ritual that they tried and failed at.
But
it didn't work.
In his mind, he thought they could do it.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't fail.
But it didn't work.
It didn't work, and you're right.
So it doesn't work for them because it never was supposed to really work anyway.
That was
it nullifies everything that has just taken place.
Not necessarily. I still think as far as character development, as far as them having to go back into their history,
gives you character development, but in terms of what it does for the plot, it ruins it.
It nullifies it. It still doesn't ruin it, in my opinion, because it shows them grow. It shows how they became the people that they are today and why they are the people that they are
today. To me, the reason it's so frustrating is it was something at the end that wasn't necessary.
If the movie was 2 hours long, would you have been as mad? If it was a normal runtime?
If they'd have just captured Pennywise with the
ritual,
I would not have been mad at all.
Interesting. Okay. I just... It's something,
Because basically what happens is they get him kind of into this... They think they're capturing him in this vase type deal. This Native American...
All right, hidey-tidy.
This Native American contraption deal. And then Pennywise is like, you think this can contain me type deal?
And
it can't.
And it's revealed that the Native Americans way in the past that had tried to do it failed at it.
Yeah. And that's where it's revealed that Mike... It was all an assumption on his behalf.
And that was I forgot about that. This was a complaint I had, and it goes back to adaptation of a book to a movie.
No, but I want to finish going through this because what happens is eventually all of that takes Pennywise busts out of it. He gets really huge. He's like a kind of spider crab.
He's a spider, which is in the book. It does happen. Yeah. Pennywise's main form is like a spider,
and he's chasing them around. And then they defeat him by calling him names, which I realized they belittle him.
They bullied him.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I figured kids would have an easier time doing that than the adults would.
Yeah.
I feel like the endings could have switched.
Which I understand. I knew that going in, that's how that's kind of how they defeat him.
No. In the book, it's like... It's very mental. They have a ritual, but it's a mental. It's like a battle of wits almost is what happens, and it happens when they're kids, and then Pennywise is getting ready for it, and then when they're older, they do the same. But there's Richie jumps in and Richie helps. The book's ending is also crazy.
Anyway, they then they defeat him by calling him words. But my point of the I feel like that they could have combined that. Like they could have defeated him by.
It was a definite flaw.
I don't know. It was something that when it was all said and done, like we saw this movie late last night, and I woke up this morning, and it was like
it bugged you.
It really did because I really liked the movie. Otherwise, I liked it better than the first one.
Yeah, I think I would too.
This was a much better movie. I liked the way it flowed better, like all the way up until that point.
So that's my point. Is people complaining about its length, and honestly, up until they have their confrontation with Pennywise, it didn't feel long to me at all.
No,
it felt perfectly
and I
fine.
thought it was really well done.
Yeah, it was really well done.
I thought it was put together. It was well acted. I liked how they jumped back and forth between the kids and the grown-ups. Mm-hmm. I liked how that flowed.
Something that they didn't quite dive into. They showed a little bit of, but is how the two people that you focus on their family life in the first one, which is Eddie and Bev. In the future, it shows that their family life when they were kids has grown to show what they are. It's very similar in their adult life. Bev's husband is abusive. Eddie's wife is just like his mother, where she's controlling, she's large, and it's something that dive into the. She is.
She's controlling. She's large.
She's just like his mother when he was a kid, and it was something that I found. They took that from the book, which I really liked, and they developed these characters really well. You're right. Like this movie was really good until
the other part of it is Mike, because
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Mike through at the beginning of this movie, he stayed while everybody else leaves. He stayed in the town. And so everybody else has forgotten about Derry completely.
Not like I barely remember. It's like they don't remember.
It's like after leaving, you're no longer in Pennywise's.
They don't remember. They don't remember
Pennywise.
They don't remember Pennywise.
Yeah, they don't remember anything.
They just remember something bad and that they had to come back.
So Mike has stayed in the town and he's continued to research and he's ready for when Pennywise comes back. But at no point do you think he's You think he's kind of obsessed a little bit, and they hint at that, he's kind of in the tower and he's done a bunch of research on it. But at no point do you think he's kind of lost it a little bit?
See, I gathered that. They portrayed him like a madman.
No, I didn't think he was mad until the end. I thought he was a little obsessed, and then at the end it was no, but it's supposed to work.
It's they literally made him crazy, and that was something that did piss me off because in the book he's not that way.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, he didn't seem that way. He seemed obsessed, but he seemed like a man on a mission. He knew what it was going to take, and then to come to find out, he had just convinced himself he knew what it was to take.
Yeah,
and didn't know.
That's a flaw. It was something where the rest of them were going through struggles and everything, but Mike. See, that goes back. I think Mike to me was portrayed like he was just crazy, and it kind of sucked because it was like he's not crazy. Mm-hmm. He actually sacrificed by staying in the town.
Yeah.
By waiting for Pennywise to come back around.
And then my other flaw, and this is minor. This has nothing to do. It's not even that big of a complaint. It felt out of place. Mm-hmm. Which was, I'm not even sure if it's in the book or not, and if it was in the book, it was badly portrayed in the movie, and if it wasn't in the book, I don't really know why they added it, which is Bill Hader's character, they insinuated that he's gay.
They insinuate. That was strange. It wasn't...
They didn't, and I felt
it's not strange that he was gay, it was strange that they, kind of hint at it to where you're okay, but it's never revealed. It almost seemed like he had a love for his friends, mm-hmm. specifically Eddie. He really...
And there was another boy he was attracted to in the arcade.
That's right, in the arcade. Well, kind of. He just said, do you want to play another game? And then Bowers came up and then they were calling him homophobic slurs.
Yeah.
And that's where you're okay, well maybe he is, but then it doesn't... It just showed that he got his feelings hurt, but it was he was getting bullied.
Yeah, but all the other kids, everything was so kind of in your face. Bev's issues.
Bev's being abused.
And Eddie's issues. Yeah. And all the issues were very much in your face, and this one was kind of, was that in the book? Was he gay?
I don't remember him being gay in the book.
And so, I mean, we're reviewing the movie. My point is, if he was gay, it actually kind of fit with the character okay.
Yeah, it did.
But you almost wish it would have been delved... Like, all of a sudden you feel like that character wasn't developed enough because it was hinted at so...
Very slightly.
So slightly.
Yeah.
And then...
That's what's strange, is that this movie does a great job in certain points where it's like beat for beat the book. Like the opening scene...
I'm not even worried about it being the book. My point is there's parts that play really, really well, and then there's some parts that are like, you guys just overthought that.
Yeah, I suppose.
They tried way too hard at certain aspects that I was like, I felt like this scene... it felt like they were just trying to throw too much at it. Like,
yeah,
it didn't have to be like if they'd have captured him if they'd have captured him, it could have just kind of ended from there. Instead, they were like, we're gonna add another 5-minute like fight sequence. Like,
yeah, it was like 10 minutes. But
yeah, 10-minute fight sequence, and it's like that wasn't really necessary. Like,
I didn't mind it as much as you did. I was perfectly okay with how...
I think it was frustrating because otherwise, I think if you take out... Not really Bill Hader's character being gay. That was fine.
It was something almost like they wrote and they were going to bring it up, and then they finished the movie and they're like, "Ooh,
we don't have time.
We don't have time to put this in there."
Yeah. But that's just a really nitpicky item. The big thing for me was the fact that
the ritual didn't
play out after they spent a majority of the movie trying to find tokens to perform the ritual. But my point is, if that doesn't happen, this might be one of my favorite movies of the year.
Interesting. See,
I really liked it, and then I think that's why I'm so worked up about it.
Okay.
It's because I really liked it, and then that happened, and I was like, well, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, why?
It added, honestly, it just added a lot of time.
And again, it doesn't take away from the movie.
No.
What do you give this movie?
Ooh, I honestly, even though I may have liked it more than the first one, I still think I would give it like a B. Because it does have its flaws. It has... it's not as scary as the first one, even though that scene under the bleachers with the little girl, Bill Skarsgård, destroyed in that scene. He was so good, and it was scary, but it kept the same heart that the first one had, and it also, I'd argue, because Bill Hader is so funny, it made the movie funny, specifically his back and forth with Eddie, and so when you look at it, it was like that was an extremely entertaining and fun movie. It just parts were a little bit overly long, and then there were just there were some flaws here and there. So yeah, I'd give it a B.
I give it a B as well, but if you take out that one little piece from that the fact that the ritual didn't work, if you take that out in terms of just entertainment value, this is like an A- movie for me. Like, I really liked it, except. And I don't know what it is that's really bothering. Like, that bothers me so much about that movie.
You're really worked up about it.
But it really did. Like, I slept on it, and I was like, maybe something bothers me much more. Maybe I'm gonna wake up, and it's making me even more mad now. Like,
calm down, bud.
Think
really about the fun times you had
because
in the movie.
It really was. I liked the first one, and in fact, this movie to me makes, because of what you learn about their history, makes the first one even better.
Oh yeah.
Like, they complement each other pretty well.
Because if you put them together, and I think the director did announce he plans to release a full cut, like combining the two movies, and I could see where that would be like really good when you put them together, and it makes it cohesive. I could see where it would be really, really good.
I wonder if it's going to be recut, just like kind of like The Hateful Eight was, where it's really long,
maybe,
and they've broken up into several parts, and they've combined the young and the old all the way throughout. I think that would be really cool to see them hop back and forth for the different points in their lives.
Very much like in the book. I mean, if they could make a version that's almost like the book, that'd be amazing.
But I think because of how well this one flowed with it hopping back and forth, it would be interesting to see if they were able to combine them and do that the whole way through.
Right.
But they might not have shot enough for them to be able to do that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, this was a solid movie, and if you're interested in going to see it, go see it.
Yeah. It's really good. Especially if you've seen the first one. It's like, you've got to see
how it ties up.
And something I did appreciate about this movie, we'll go into it. They don't really leave room for like, oh, there could be more. It's like no,
there's a definitive ending, which I really liked.
There's no after credit scene.
In their defense for how they chose, they explain why the ritual doesn't work. I don't have an issue like with that. Like that's all explained well. It just, to me, it takes away from what they've done earlier. It's all explained pretty well. It does make Mike come off seem a little crazy, but it is. I mean, it's a good movie.
Yeah,
it is good, and it's worth a watch. It's worth your money.
I agree.
So
totally agree.
Well, that was our take.
Yeah, that was our take of It Chapter 2. It's in theaters. Go see it.
We'll catch you next time.
Check you later. Bailey, what is happening?